Today I'd like to introduce our project for TDDD27 lecture, and my name is Gaeun Kim. Our project is a map-based gallery sharing service built with Next.js, Prisma, and SQLite. Let's go through the project structure. First of all, we can see public folder, which holds static assets like images and icons. And we also store our images into public/uploads folder. So the images that uploaded by users will be stored here as well. Now you can see src folder, the main source directory for all application codes. When we look at the app folder, there's a lot of pages. This folder name could be the path of the page. And inside the folder, you can just make page.txx and it become a automatically page. This is one of the convenient part of Next.js. Also, look at here, like accounts folder. If you put the name of the folder into the bracket, it doesn't appear in the path, so that you can group the pages which is related. We put login page and the sign up page into accounts folder, and we put create share view page in the album folder. And each folder has index module.css, which is just a fact to the page that imports the CSS, so that we can use the variable name easily, like freely. And let's go to API. If you make API folder in Next.js, it automatically becomes a backend endpoint. And if you make some folder and put routes.ts file, it becomes a backend endpoint, and you can put backend logic here. So for example, let's see at user. In the user folder, we have routes.ts. And this function means if clients send a post request, and it will act like this and deal with the database, and then it will send the response to the clients. So we have a lot of API here as well. So we didn't need to make a backend server like with Python or other language. We just need to put API folder and make some endpoint folder, and then put route.ts inside of the file. It's also one of the nice part of Next.js. And then we have shared components. We put general components into the components folder so that we can use it generally, like in other file. For example, we have button components. If you see login page, we are using button that we made, so that we can easily style it, and we can easily handle the event handler. Let's go to the hooks. We put a lot of custom hooks here. The reason we made custom hooks is for abstraction, because the goal of the React project is abstraction of the code, so that if you look at the code, you don't have to know the logic inside. You just read the code, and then you know what's going on there. That's enough. So code about the state or code about the use effect, we all put it here, so that the page code could be not that complicated. This list folder is for Prisma initialization, and we made API clients, so that if you want to post something, if you want to get something from clients, you can use this API client request. It's also for abstraction of code, so you don't have to put this long logic into the page. You just need to call API request function, so that the code will be cleaner and easy to read. If you want to use the API clients, you can use auth services or user service in here. is also abstracted. So for example, in login, we have use handler login hooks. In here, we are using auth service login, and we just put email and password in that function. Then with this one line of function, we can send a request. Let's go to styles folder. We put the color so that we don't have to type the color hexacode every time. And we use it like this. And this is middleware. This works before client get loaded. It will check the path and the token as well. So if client doesn't have token, the path will be automatically go to login so that client get token. Easy to make middleware in Next.js. So you can just name the file as middleware, and it works as a middleware. And we used Prisma. So here is our DB table. We have user album, and image database. For this project, we used SQLite as our database engine and manage it through the Prisma ORM. Prisma is an ORM, which is object relational mapping tool that works seamlessly with SQLite. And SQLite is a lightweight file-based database that requires no server setup. And we wanted a simple and zero configuration database for rapid development and collaboration. And our project doesn't need a complex function of database, so we choose SQLite. And we also had a challenge while we making our database. Our service allows multiple users to share the contribute to the same gallery, same album, which is a classic many-to-many relationship. Initially, we tried to store user IDs directly in the album model, but Prisma requires a joint table for many-to-many relations. So we made a user album table, join table to represent the many-to-many relationship between users and albums. One of the big reasons that we choose Next.js as our project framework was presence of image tag. Next.js image tag automatically optimizes images by resizing, compressing, or serving modern formats like WebP, so that we can load the images fast. And if it takes time, it will appear as a skeleton, so that we don't have to worry about the UX. Let's look at the middleware code and authentication. We needed to ensure that only authenticated users could access to certain routes. For example, map, album, create, share. So we didn't use third-party authentication library. We just managed JWT tokens securely and protecting routes both on the client side and the server side. We used Next.js middleware to intercept all requests and redirect unauthenticated users to the login page, ensuring that protected routes are never accessible without a valid token. And Next.js provides templates and layouts for fixed layouts. This function is also one of the advantages of using Next.js for us. We can easily put components for several pages by making template or layouts. Since we have client logic in our logout button, so we made templates for our fixed layout. If you want to use layouts rather than template, then you can use server-side rendering function as well. This is for Google OF login. Here we import next request, response, Prisma, and JWT here. And when Google sends back an authorization code, we first check the state value here to prevent CSRF attacks. Next, the section exchanges the code for an access token and refresh token by calling Google's token endpoint. And using the access token, we fetch the user's profile information from Google. With Prisma, we either create a new user if no one exists or update their linked Google account if they've signed before. For the comments, we have add comments function here. This API detects parents ID. So if it's like comments for the comments, then we put parents ID here so that we can store it as a comments for the comments. Or if it's just comments without parents, then we can just store without it so that we can recognize it's like just comments without parents. We can also change user profile here. So post user profile with this function. And you can change your profile image in my page. For the like, we just made one API like photo. So if user click like button, it checks the DB that user already clicked like button before, or is it new? So if it's new, it's renewed the DB that user liked that photo, and if it was second time, it renewed the DB that user disliked the photo. So with dislike button, we can like image or dislike image. We can also restore the image. So if you deleted image and you want to restore it, we can use this API. So we check if it's deleted or not. So if it's deleted, we can restore it. If it's not deleted, it doesn't show in a UI. And for every album, we have to check if it's my album or the other's album. So that if it's my album, I can share my album and I can delete the image or I can do something else. But if it's not, we should block the user to do that. So we basically check the authority with this API. And for the filter, we changed our image patch function API a bit. So we can patch some details about image. For example, for filter, we can put filter strings here so that we can store the filter in back end as a string, and in the front end we recognize the filter. So if image have some filter string, we show it as CSS class.